In this video, we're going to talk about power rule for rational powers of x. So let's say we got y equals radical x. And how can you find the derivative of this? Let's go back to Algebra 2 and review that when you have y equals nth root of x to the m, you know that if you want to change it to a rational power, this is the same thing as x to the m over n. So for example, if you have y equals cube root of x squared, this is the same thing as x to the 2/3. So if you want to find the derivative of y equals radical x, let's rewrite this as x to the 1 over 2. If you don't see an index, there's an invisible 2. Now you could apply the power rule. So what's the derivative of that? It's going to be 1 over 2 x to the 1 over 2 minus 1, which is negative 1 over 2. And if you want to clean this up, this is the same thing as 1 over 2x to the 1/2, which is the same thing as 1 over 2 radical x. Now notice, y prime exists except when x equals 0. When x equals 0, denominator is 0, therefore y prime is undefined. You have y equals x to the 2/3. How can you find the derivative of this? So y prime will be 2 over 3 x to the 2 over 3 minus 1, which is negative 1 over 3. So this is the same thing as 2 over 3x to the 1/3, which is the same thing as 2 over 3 cube root of x. You need to realize that these two are the same thing. If AP test was a multiple choice, sometimes they have the answer in radicals. Just know that these two are the same thing. Now notice d over dx means take the derivative of whatever this is. So we need to find the derivative of cosine of x to the power of negative 1 over 5. So what will be the derivative of that? Well, applying the power rule, you're going to get negative 1 over 5 cosine of x, and then negative 1 over 5 minus 1, which is negative 6 over 5. We're not done yet. We have to apply the chain rule. So what's the derivative of inside? That's going to be negative sine x. So you end up getting negative times negative is positive. So you get sine x over 5 times cosine x to the power of negative 5 over negative 6 over 5, which is the same thing as, if you want to make it positive, you end up getting sine x over 5 times cosine x to the 6 over 5. Before we go into the next example, let's review Algebra 2. Let's say you have x to the 5th plus x squared. How do you factor this out? Well, the greatest common factor is x squared. You choose a smaller exponent. And then what's left over? You're going to get x cubed plus 1. Now, what if it was x to the negative 5 plus x to the negative 2? How do you factor this out? What is the greatest common factor? Well, you have to choose a smaller exponent. Which is smaller, negative 5 or negative 2? Negative 5 is smaller. So what happens when you take out x to the negative 5? You get 1 plus x to the, remember when you multiply you have to add the exponent, so negative 5 plus what will give you negative 2? It's going to be positive 3. Now let's find the derivative of x over radical quantity x squared plus 1. Let's rewrite this. So you get x over quantity x squared plus 1 to the 1/2. And instead of using the quotient rule, I want to use a product rule. So I want to bring this up. So change a positive exponent to negative. Now I'm going to take the derivative. Notice all these three are same expression. Now I'm going to take the derivative using the product rule. So it's going to be x times the derivative of this, which is negative 1 over 2 times the quantity x squared plus 1 to the negative 3 over 2. Now I'm not done because I have to use the chain rule. Take the derivative of inside, so you get 2x. Then plus this times quantity x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2 times the derivative of x, which is just 1. So let's kind of clean this up. You get negative 1 over 2 and 2 become negative 1. So you get negative x squared quantity x squared plus 1 to the negative 3 over 2 plus quantity x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2. Now, what is the greatest common factor here? Well, these two look the same, and which one is smaller, negative 3 over 2 or negative 1 over 2? Negative 3 over 2 is smaller. So we're going to take out quantity x squared plus 1 to the negative 3 over 2. And what's left over here? You get negative x squared. And then this times what will give you this? Remember, when you multiply, you have to add up the exponents. So you end up getting x squared plus 1 to the power of 2 over 2, right? Negative 3 over 2 plus 2 over 2 is negative 1 over 2. But if it's 2 over 2, it's the same thing as 1, and you don't need to write 1 there. So now what happens when you add up the like terms inside? Negative x squared and x squared cancels out. You just get 1. And 1 times this is just this expression right here. So that will be the final answer. But if you want to make it into a positive exponent, you know what to do. So I'll leave that up to you.